the Earth's climate is far more fragile than people think. It's subject to radical shifts that can be so quick and extreme that it can change the course of history. A potential big chill could be caused by something as subtle as a deviation in ocean currents in the North Atlantic. The climate catastrophe might begin with temperatures bouncing up and down, from cold to hot and back for decades. Paradoxically, as the southern regions heat up, the northern areas become much colder. Some experts project a 10-degree drop in average winter temperatures in some areas. The results: freezing winter storms paralyze Western Europe. Stinging winter temperatures grip the eastern seaboard of the United States. Raging ice storms with high wind velocity batter New York. Temperatures continue to drop. Boston reels under the weight of the most brutal winter in its history. As the relentless winter persists, punishing snow and windy ice storms blanket the entire northeast coast. In Europe, the winters also stretch into months of unending freezing temperatures. London's cold, wet winters twist into a deadly series of ice storms. Paris is frozen in stark relief to what it once was. Berlin is a snowbound relic of the past. Some scientists predict that this sudden change in climate, including a big chill in the north, could occur within our lifetime.
I think there are several things that people don't realize about the climate. First of all, that it is changing, that is a given. And the only question is how fast and how far and where it will settle out. And that it can change rather dramatically.
Ironically, the same shift in climate may cause not only near-Arctic conditions, possibly creating a mini ice age in parts of North America and Europe, but also massive drought and more severe storms in other regions. It's not only the speed at which these climate changes will occur, some say within a decade, but also the unpredictable nature of the changes that make the impact potentially lethal.
As we move into the future, if the climate state is such that we can have severe storms and severe weather events coming in every year or every other year, that's not normally what we deal with, and that's not normally what society is prepared to cope with. And adapting to that kind of extreme is very difficult. We don't know what to prepare for.
Around 1300 AD, the weather mysteriously began changing. Historical data taken from crop yields and other public records show a small drop in temperature. But this minor degree change in temperature was enough to trigger the Little Ice Age. A prolonged period of colder weather in Europe that would have disastrous consequences. Ultimately, this slight shift in climate would play a part in the spread of the Black Death and the social upheavals that would lead to the American and French revolutions. Researchers from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution look for clues about past climate change by digging sediment cores from the ocean floor. They have discovered intriguing evidence of the Little Ice Age.
The seafloor is a repository for shells of animals that grew in the overlying waters and for sediments that wash off land. And these layers accumulate in the cores, and we get a record that might be 100,000 or even 1,000,000 years long.
The oceans are warming. Almost all the glaciers on the planet have gotten smaller over the last 100 years. You're getting reductions in sea ice in the Arctic. Things are happening earlier in the spring and lasting farther into the fall than they did in the past. And so there's this great number of indicators that say, yes, the planet is warming.
This rise in the ocean temperatures may cause a shutdown of the thermohaline circulation, the system that brings warmth to the North Atlantic region.
The total heat capacity of the ocean is 1,100 times that of the atmosphere. So in my mind, we really should be trying to understand what's going on in the ocean to understand our future climate.
Researchers from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution utilize many tools to study the changing ocean. Remote control devices called floaters track changes in the ocean's condition.
They're sort of like weather balloons for the ocean that drift at depth for 10 days, then come to the surface, recording the temperature and salinity as they rise, and they transmit that data to a satellite. And we have a program to deploy thousands of these around the global ocean, and thereby, for the first time, monitor the ocean heat and salt content on a continuous basis. This is a revolutionary new tool for seeing climate processes acting in the ocean.
Using the data transmitted by tools like floaters, scientists create computer models that track and then project climate changes. Recently, researchers have found evidence of a disturbing development. Global warming is melting glaciers and ice sheets, causing an increase in fresh water flowing into the thermohaline circulation, a process they call freshening. This fresh water could throw off the critical balance between temperature and salinity that powers the thermohaline circulation. Using the latest in scientific data and computer visualizations, we get a terrifying glimpse at the impact of extreme and abrupt climate change in our future. Not just freezing temperatures in the north, but also monster hurricanes, massive storms, and in some areas, endless drought.
If you look at the potential for the damage done by climate change, you can easily see how climate change could be a weapon of mass destruction.